Hi, everybody. It is Nikki with That Homeschool Life, and I have a little something for you guys. It is Monday, and that means it is Monday Money Moves for kids. And I'm going to jump in real quick and out because I have 3 workmen that are doing all kinds of stuff to my house, plus my barking dog. So it's chaos. So let me get right to it. If you are new to this channel, I'm Nikki with That Homeschool Life, and I cover homeschool issues and topics. But today I'm focusing on financial literacy for our little ones, or even our big ones, and for us. So this week we are focusing on money moves for teens. And I have these 2 books here. This is the textbook, if you will, and not a real textbook, but the book. And then this here is the workbook. And what I like about this series, it's by Larry Burkett. For those of you in the Christian community, you probably know about Larry Burkett. He's pretty well known. I am from Texas, from Houston. He's pretty well known with his Financial Christian series for adults and for kids. So if you are a secular homeschooler, which I am, some things, it's a good series. So some things you might want to just skip or just kind of mark out. But if you are of the Christian faith, I hear a big echo. If you are of the Christian faith, then you will absolutely love this. I skipped a lot of parts that we don't focus on in our household, but it's a solid introduction into money management. So let's get going. So for the book here, I tabbed a couple of pages of notes, but let me just first show you, it'll be like a quick little walkthrough. Let me show you the table of contents. Now, special note, the book, the table of contents is not aligned with the workbook. And if you notice here at the bottom, it has age 11 to 14 edition. They have another edition, which I believe is 15 to 18. I didn't see one for the younger set, but I wasn't concerned because next week I'm going to introduce you guys to my favorite money series. I hear a huge echo in here. I hope you guys don't hear an echo. But anyway, let's get to it. So for this, we have our chapters. We have 7 chapters. And let me give you a quick look there if you can see it. I don't know if y'all can see that. Oh, it looks blurry to me, guys, but I hope you can see it. All right, there we go. There we go. Okay, so it breaks down into money, attitude, planning, banking, spending, and career. Now, what I wanted to highlight is if you are a secular homeschooler, the things you will notice if you decide to go with this program or this book is that you'll see quotes, and you'll see verses, you'll see scenarios that involve church or church activities. But if you can look beyond that, you can always make that a learning part right there. But if you look beyond that, the bulk of the money learning part is really solid. So here it talks about the history of money, and this is pretty secular. This part is pretty secular. And if you see, there are cartoons, pretty funny cartoons throughout. And the chapters, with the breakdown of the chapter, there are like 6 or 7 sections within each chapter. Each section is like a page or 2. If you notice there, that was 9. Now we're on 10 already. So they're quick reads because remember, this is for your teen and they have a short attention span, just like a kindergartner. Now, what I tabbed here, if we jump to chapter 21, that's where you'll start to get a lot of the heavy Christian references, and being if you were to mark out stuff that refer to a religious faith, you would basically mark out the whole page. So you can see you can get pretty far into the text without having that focus if that is not your focus. But I just wanted to point that out. But if you are wanting to really focus on the God religious aspect of money, then this is where you'll really start to get your money's worth with your children, and how you can build that into like your Bible lessons or your Bible study, or maybe your morning basket routines. That would be a great time to do that. So that's pretty much it. I mean, it's just basically your book. They're quick, easy reads. The chapters are in very manageable bites, and they have enough cartoons to keep the interest. And they have some pretty, really interesting scenarios, really real life scenarios that a teen could understand. Why did I bookmark this one? Okay, so this one, the big budget. Now, this is what I really liked about the book, was the budgeting part and the ideals to help you time a budget, write down a budget, what makes a good budget, how to stick to a budget. So I thought that part of the book was very useful. And then here we have, now this book was published in 2000. So it's like 19 years out of date, basically. But basically, sound money principles never go out of style. So I have something coming in the next couple of weeks that's more updated, that really talks about how we bank now, like, online banking and apps and things like that to manage your money, to make money. But for just old fashioned, bare bones, reliable, old faithful stuff, this is pretty good. So this part on digital banking, it's kind of outdated. It talks about phone banking and stuff my mom does. And she still can't do three-way clickovers. So there you go. And then, the spending plan I thought was pretty good. It really talks about the motivation behind your spending. If you notice, nowadays people talk about emotional spending. Well, not nowadays, but it's been around, emotional spending and why we buy things. And this kind of hints upon it. And I think this is to me my favorite part of the book, talking about your intent with your money, your relationship with your money. Why are you buying that? Do you really need that? How are you feeling walking into that? Y'all, it's a high. I'm gonna have to. That's my girlfriend. I haven't seen her in like a couple of years, and she's on her way over here. If y'all knew what happened to me this morning with a flat tire, trying to get my child to camp, sleepaway camp, in another city, never mind. So you have, for your spending, your intent, your relationships with, let me fast forward, how to spend wisely. It has some really great tips on how to spend wisely, and great questions to ask yourself and of merchants before you turn over your money. Now, for those that want the religious focus, chapter 40 really goes into how to give, how to spend, and have a relationship with money through God. And that really goes deep. And if you're not into that part, you can skip it. And then the rest of it kind of goes into like older stuff, like what to do when you interview, and how to, it talks about, it talks about checks. It doesn't go that great into detail with checks. I don't know how many kids use checks or write checks. I still think that's useful. So I recommend this book with some caveats, because it doesn't go into deep detail with some of the scenarios that teens face today. But in terms of the bare bones basics and having a reliable plan, I think it's pretty solid. But I would really if you had to choose the books, I would go with this workbook. You actually don't need that book to use this book. That's probably why the contents, the table of contents, is not aligned. So this is the workbook, and you see I tabbed it all over. I might have to give this away as a giveaway. But here you have your table of contents, 12 sections. And I like how they break this down, because you could take this and focus on one chapter a week and make it, heck, you can even do one chapter a month. That's how much you can, that's how complex the topic of money is. You could spend a month just on money basics, and then on the next month, banking, online banking, physical banking. You could really milk this and take your time with it, especially when you're teaching, reading, writing, math, social studies, history, and everything. So like the regular book, it has cartoons throughout, and they're funny cartoons actually. And then for the religious references, you'll get, well, that's not a religious reference, but you'll get inspirational financial quotes, which I think is pretty cool. And then you'll also have some takeaways to learn from the chapter that you're in. And then let's see, I did a lot of tabs in here, guys. Okay, now in this book, you have at least one activity per chapter, and then you'll have activities listed down here on the side. And I would make a copy of the activity, just so your child's probably going to mess up on it, or you might have other children you want to use this with. So definitely make a copy of that. There's not hardly any religious references in here. There is one quote that says the quote, and then it's gives the quote to Jesus. But if that's a big deal for you, you can just take a sticky, cover it, or just mark through it and just keep it moving. But that's not a deal breaker for us. Let's see what else. So you have more activities, and the activities are not busy work. They are real life applications. So your child will really have a chance to work through their relationship with money. I mean, just getting them to keep track of what they spend, or just keep track of the things that they want. If they wrote down all of the things that they wanted and then wrote down the cash value of that, they would be astounded. Here you go, more activities. Okay. And even though people aren't really writing as many checks nowadays, I mean, a lot of people do, the fact that it requires you to think about your purchases, keep track of them, the process of writing things down. You want to bring in as many modalities of learning as you can: visual, auditory, kinesthetic, and more. You want to use as many of those to help reinforce the life skill that you're teaching. So they talk about writing things in a ledger, or the ledger, the ledger, and how just being mindful of the things that you want and the things that you want to, or the things that you're buying, helps. When you see it on paper, you start looking at things differently. Okay, there's another activity. Another thing that this workbook has for activities is the envelope system. Well, they don't call it the envelope system. I do. And you use an envelope. My mom used to do this. An envelope for everything you want to buy, whether it's vacation, school clothes, a fancy dinner, a new pair of shoes. You put an envelope for it, and then you put money aside for that. Now, what I like about this book is that they tell you how to budget that, and they tell you, okay, based on X amount of money that you're trying to save, you need to spend this money or less every week. And then if you have a surplus, maybe somebody gave you some money, then this is how you roll over your money. And then it tells you, like, okay, if you get extra money, you don't just blow that. Now your weekly spending can go up maybe $1 or $2 or $3 because maybe grandma gave you $20. So just little scenarios like that just starts getting your child thinking, having that metacognition of, okay, how am I feeling? I really want this, but I need to save for this, but I got this money and it's burning a hole in my pocket. Just awareness that they start learning their relationship with money, or his or her relationship with money. Again, more activities. Now, I have to say the activities could be varied a little bit more, because it really does focus on, well, I shouldn't say it should be varied more. Like, this is my favorite section, the budget. They have a lot of great tips in here on how to set up a budget. What is a good budget? What's a dry week? What's a just in case week? So it gives you terms. Now your child has some language, some financial literacy language that they can use. Maybe they know they're not going to get money for anything for the next coming week. So that's going to be a dry week. But during that dry week, the ice cream man comes around and their friends are going to see, that hot new summer movie. And they know all these activities are happening during dry week. So what do? Well, they'll make an envelope for just in case. And that's money that whenever they get money, maybe they take 10% out and they put it in that envelope. So whenever they have a dry week, they can go to their just in case envelope and use it for those kinds of activities. So I like that. And I'm going to get ready to wrap this up. But one other thing I wanted to point out. Oh, and then for my Christian family. So this part, chapter 7, Giving It Back, really focuses on money and faith. And it gives you lots of great ideas about how to help others, how to be conscious with your money regarding the business and the ethics and morals of the business. It tells you how to look that up to see, is this company someone that I would support? Maybe they dump oil in, poor people's neighborhoods or something like that. So it talks about how to not only for you to be ethical with your money, but how to spend your money with merchants and companies who are kind of in alignment with your beliefs. Okay, now, one thing I wanted to mention before I wrap it up is last week I talked about this series here for the younger set of kids, but really you can bust these books out with your teen. And like on the section where it talks about how to spend the money wisely, you can read this, learning about wants and needs. That's spending your money wisely. What is a want? What is a need? This book will give you an activity to help determine what's a want, what's a need. And then here, you can just take it a step further with your teen. But don't be afraid of picture books for your older kids. Sometimes they even enjoy that, So let's see. I think that was it. One last sticky. Okay, and then this portion also is very heavenly faith-based about how your relationship with the world, with money, and how you can make changes with your money. So, and that's like donations and supporting organizations that have beliefs that align with yours. And then in the back, you have a couple of like worksheets, check registers to practice keeping track of your money. So, and then you also have an example of a money and expenses worksheet. So I think this is a solid program to get started with. I think for my Christian families, excuse me, and I'm so hot. I have on all this jewelry like I'm a traveling gypsy in Macedonia. But I think with our Christian families, this is a great series for your teens. You could really easily incorporate this in the morning time or maybe late at night, where you can have more of a discussion about money and how you look at money through the lens of God. Okay, for my secular families, you might have to play in the workbook. There's a couple of areas you might have to play around with, but overall, I think it's a very solid program to get a basic understanding for money with your kids. Let's see, I think that was it. I think I covered everything. If not, on my next share, if you have any questions, leave them down below in the description box. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And you can do that right now while I'm talking. I think you can get this on Amazon. You can get this at your local bookstore. It's they also have an edition for younger kids, okay? This book will go for the 11 to 14 and the 15 to the 18-year-olds. So this book covers 2 workbooks. And next week, I will be focusing on Money Munchkins, which is a really, really great program I just found out about when I went to the Great Homeschool Convention a few weeks back. So I will be showcasing that next week. But and then for this month, I'm really just trying to do an introduction to resources about money. And then on the last Monday of this month of July, I'll end it with either some apps or some board games just to help reinforce some money concepts. And then in August, I'll go a step further, like maybe hitting on the stock market, opening up an e-bank account or something like that. But I need to go. Thank you so much for stopping by. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I think that's it. Thank you so much for all your support. And I will see you on the next year. This is Niki with That Homeschool Life. Keep living that homeschool life, y'all. Bye-bye. Oh, I didn't get to show y'all my necklace. Look at this. It's heaviest. All get out. I'm trying to wear all my jewelry. That's why I look like a used car salesman. But wanted to show that to y'all. Give my little necklace some spotlight, even though my hair is all busted and stuff. But anyway, let me get out of here so I can call my girlfriend back. All right, guys. Bye-bye.